The reason this whole kind of award thing came about is when I was 6 years old, my dad found a flyer for a little local tournament back in Pittsburgh called the Burl Super Trophy, and they gave away it kind of like tiered. So if you finished fourth place, you got like a little guy, but then if you were champ, they were 4 foot tall trophies, and when you're six, that's taller than you are, and I remember winning one when I was like 7 or 8. It was the first time I got one, and it was the coolest thing that ever happened to me at the time. And it just really kind of grew the love for wrestling, man, because when you're that age, all you want is the awards. You care less about all the technique and all that. You just want to do two things: be aggressive with somebody and win big trophies or medals or whatever. And so I kind of stole the idea from them and brought it down here to kind of make competing in the off
I agree,
season
man.
as fun as possible.
Quick shout out to not only yourself but all the directors of the tournament throughout this series for being so adaptable with the hurricanes coming our way. We had Helena come into our area and Milton that went down south, but we know these hurricanes can go in any direction. So we appreciate y'all adapting and making sure that these events get on for these kids. Let's go and talk that the newest top 30 rankings heading into that last one. I was looking, I got it pulled up right now, and it's pretty tight. Honestly, it sounds like it was a great little tournament. Not as big of a turnout, but it looks like everybody still got 5-6 matches in, which sometimes those are the better ones. Let's talk about that Arnold Warzone.
Yeah, I think there was 80 or so kids. It was not a large one by any means, but I think that the way it was run, I paired the whole thing, or at least like 90% of the event at the table there, and I think with that we were able to like really hone in and get kids a lot of matches. More stressful doing it that way. I would much rather the guys in New York pair it and make it easier for me. But I think average we were 5.8 matches per kid over the 2 hours, which is on the higher end. So it was a good event. There was a lot of really good wrestling. I unfortunately didn't get to see as much, but I saw the results because I was at the table live pairing the whole time. But man, there were some good matches. Top 30, number 30, Harley Charrion, 7-5 out of Grappling House. Number 29, Max Perez, 7-3 out of Fort Walton Beach High School. 28, Preston Neufeld, 7-3 out of Gulf Coast Black Sheep. 27, Grady Beard is 7-3 out of Grappling House. 26, James Oliver is 7-2 out of Gulf Coast Black Sheep. 25, Jake Parker sitting at 7-1 out of Weewahitchka High School. 24, Alex Vasquez, 8-5 out of Bay County Elite. 23, Weston Owens, 8-5 out of Bay County Elite. 22, Maddox DeLang from Pace Wrestling Club is sitting at 8-4. Number 21, Koa DeLoach, 8-2 out of Gulf Coast Black Sheep. At number 20, we have Lawson Thorne out of Grappling House. He is 9-4 on the series. Number 19, Dawson Atkinson, another Bay County Elite kid at 9-4. Number 18, Mason Peterson is sitting at 9-2 from Well Trained. 17, Marino Karate is 10-5 from Grappling House. 16, Weston Shores, 10-4 from Patriots Wrestling Club in Alabama. 15, Benjamin Green is 10-4, also from Patriots Wrestling Club. 14, Landon Pease is 10-1 from the Peacekeepers in Georgia. 13, Carson Garcia is sitting at 10-1 out of Grappling House. Number 12, Nick Steiner, still undefeated at 10-0 from Niceville Wrestling Academy. Number 11, Carson Shineberry is 11-6, another Patriots Wrestling Club kid. And then your top 10, Reese Fish is sitting at 11-1 from Well Trained, sitting in the 10 spot. At number 9, Joey Stepien is 12-8 out of Grappling House. Number 8, his older brother Michael Stepien is 12-5, also from Grappling House. Number 7, Julian Ravasi is 12-4 from Arnold High School. Number 6, Kinsley Jones, 13-5 out of Grappling House. Number 5, Jason Marsala, 13-1 out of Battle Wrestling Club in Tally. Number 4, Wyatt Felchin, 14-1 out of Grappling House. Number 3, Calvin Ross is sitting undefeated at 14-0 from Weewahitchka High School. Number 2, Miles Rinkus is 15-5 from Niceville Wrestling Academy. And little shakeup, I think he moved from number 3 to number 1 this week, is Tyler Johnson, 16
That
and
we
5
got a
out
lot to
of
talk
Weewitchka
about.
High School.
Let's go talk about that number 30
Yes, we
because I know
do.
you sent me a message like right after it happened or like right after the event, and like I had saw it too, and I honestly thought maybe there was just
Mhm.
an error on like who won and who lost because the score seemed pretty normal to would, but then let you tell me about it. It was amazing.
Sure. Yeah, so I actually didn't see the match, unfortunately, as I was live pairing. But Harley Charrion's mom ran up to the head table and like looked like she just had the most fun of her life. And I said, "What's up?" And she said, "Harley just beat Reese." And I said, "Nuh-uh." And she said 10-1, and her eyes got real big. And I went, "What?" And so I honestly, she tried to do that thing with the phone that it automatically shoots the video to my phone, but it wasn't working. So I've still yet to have seen the match. But somehow, some way, Harley went from never beating Reese to major decisioning Reese, which is wild. But then, in typical youth wrestling fashion, where we're all over the place, they did a rematch and 17-1 Reese this time around. And so they were 1-1 on the day, but man, Harley got his first breakthrough win against a kid that we know to be one of the best kids in the Panhandle. It's one of the best youth kids for sure. And so, for confidence and for, just a mile marker showing like, hey, I'm working hard. Here's something that happened that shows that I'm, on the right track. It was great for him, man. I really enjoyed watching his reaction to winning that. Hopefully in the next couple days here, I'll get a video of it.
Sometimes it takes that one win to really help you get to that next level. I mean, I figured Reese would try to get that back, and he definitely got his revenge, so to speak, on the day. But we also know Reese is one that wants to see our guy succeed because as Harley gets better, I think you and I were talking about this like a couple weeks ago. As our area gets better, Reese can get better, right? When he goes to these tournaments now, he knows that Harley might be able to challenge him, right? Harley's gaining on him, and that's matchups that he's going to get locally that he doesn't have to drive down south for, right? He can keep sharpening himself
Mhm.
here. So I loved hearing about that. I know how hard Harley works. So good for him. Good for you, Harley. Can't wait to see what you do in that finals. How about your boy Joseph finally breaking through in the top 10? He's in there.
He's in there. He's in there. He he had a rough, was it second? One of the events that he did was, like a 4-4 or something like that. So I think he's going to end up dropping one, and there's a chance he could remain in the top 10. There was a lot of kids at his heels, but man, he's working and he's doing all the extra stuff. I don't think it comes from a place of like, I need to beat my rival in miles. I think it comes more from a place of I just want to get better at this sport, and so he's been doing all the extra for the last couple weeks, and it's starting to pay off even more, man. So it's cool to watch.
I would really love to see him walk away with a belt. Was this Kinsley Jones, man? Only girl in the top 30 and up in the top 10, no less.
I'm glad you brought her up because I wanted to talk about her last week and I didn't get the chance to. Everybody knows Kendall, Stomp Knocker, Haney. I have, since about her first week in this room, I've called Kinsley Stomp Knocker 2.0. She is already on the pace of becoming somebody that's elite. But man, she reminds me so much of Kendall, and just coaching her, the way they both respond to things, like uh, it's such a spitting image of one another. And then just that mean, tough grittiness that she has is very much like Kendall. Doesn't back down from anybody. You tell her she can't do something, and she's going to do it to prove you wrong. That type of kid. And man, it's been fun to watch. And she's 13-5 on the series. A couple of those wins, I don't know if you've seen, but like Evan Hill is in there. She got a 3-0 win over Evan Hill, who's an absolute hammer. she's had 2 or 3 more wins that, I may not have gotten to see the match, but I looked at it on paper and went, how? And I don't mean to say that as in, she's not good. It's just she's inexperienced, and a lot of the kids she's passed are way more experienced than her. So it is really cool to watch her transformation and just kind of like digging into this whole wrestling thing, doing all the extra work, and it's cool to watch payoff.
And representation matters. Having that, even though Kendall's only a freshman, that's someone for her to look up to, for her immediate future, and idolize, emulate. Kendall works hard, does all the extra stuff, so she can see herself doing that. And I'm sure you calling her Kendall 2.0, isn't an insult to her. It gives her something like, oh, I can be just as good. So it's that's what I point that out to a lot of my high school wrestlers as well. Specifically the female ones. I'm like, show up for the beginner classes, work with the younger girls, because this is how we grow what we're trying to grow. It's been stifled for so long, but this is our opportunity to make it, something special. So that's awesome. One guy that I want to shout out is Tyler Johnson, man. He wrestled Steven at the Glow in the Dark one the first match, and I thought that, he just caught Steven slipping. Maybe it was early match, or I thought the score was a little off, but nonetheless, I was like, all right, he's gonna wrestle him back again later on in the day. He did, and Tyler put it to him, man. All them Johnson boys have been working, so it's really cool seeing him up there in that number one spot heading into the finale.
I agree. On that note, I want to shout out Wewa Hitchka, man. I don't think they're predominantly known as like a high school powerhouse. I'm still relatively new to the whole, all of the high school teams and the pecking order and all that stuff. But 3 guys in the top 30. They got the number 1 and the number 3. Um, Speaking of, that's one of the kids I wanted to talk about. Calvin Ross is sitting at undefeated. I think it's 14-0. And he wrestled Michael Stepien this week, who's a pretty strong boy. I think he's going to be a junior age-wise. And I didn't realize up until the last event of the series that this Calvin kid is only just turned 15, I think. The kid is a beast for that age, and he stuck Michael. I didn't get to see it; I just saw it on paper again. But clearly, if you're pinning Michael, you're obviously pretty good. And the fact that he's a 15-year-old, someone to look out for on the high school scene for sure. Then you got Tyler Johnson, like we said, at number 1, and I think Jake Parker is sitting, returning state medalist, maybe definitely state qualifier, sitting at 7-1 just because he's only attended 2 events. So I imagine he'll move way up the leaderboard if he comes to the finale this weekend. So shout out to Wewa Hitchka for having themselves
Yeah, they've always
a
been
nice little
strong, man. They've
series.
always had great coaches that are passionate about it. It's just I think a lot of it comes to do with just it being a small town and having a small, pool of athletes to pull from. But they've always put in a lot of passionate work. Um, all right, man. Let's talk about this finale coming up. I know you got something coming up on the Friday before the finale, correct?
Yeah, so finale is Saturday at Florida High, same place we always have it. Friday night we decided, I'll go ahead and screen share here. So Friday night we decided to try to get everybody together, and we're going to do a rumble at Grappling House. So anybody that is a current member of Grappling House is free. Those of you that are in from out of town and don't feel like sitting in the hotel or sightseeing or anything, come get some wrestling in. Friday night from 6 to 8, we're going to do a big Rumble live wrestling session. Short little 10-minute warm up, 20-minute drill. We'll just have the kids kind of drill on their own and get loose. Hour of live wrestling. We'll have the speaker system going with some loud music. And then we're going to play games, dodgeball stuff at the end. $10 for non-members. And there is a little QR code right here on the flyer that will take you straight to our waiver that you can fill out. Got to have an AAU card, but again, if you're coming to the tournament, you likely already have that. So everybody's invited. We got room for 80 to 90 kids in here. If more show up, we got a spot to sit, and we'll go groups of 4 if we gotta. We'll figure it out. But hopefully, this is kind of like a little second tournament in the same weekend type
So
thing.
for the event, for the finale, doing the same thing, top 30 at the end of at the end of the event.
Correct. Yeah. So top 10 get the belts. 11 through 15. If you're listening to this, don't hold me to this because I'm trying to go from memory. 11 through 15, I believe, is the chain necklaces. 16 through 20 is the giant trophies. You can
Ooh.
actually see them displayed if you want to see. Yep. So those are like 2 foot tall trophies, something like that. And then 21 through 30, I believe, is all rings. So we got those nice, the ones kind of like they gave out last or 2 years ago at the
Yeah, I know
Niceville
what you're talking about.
Bulls. Nice championship rings for 21 to 30. So it should be nice. I think the kids will like it. And then we have medals for the top 3 as well.
I love the thought that you put into these awards for the end of the series, right? Like I know we have two of Steven's belts hanging up in our little home garage here, and it's always so cool to look at. You know, seeing Miles leave with the hammer last year put a biggest smile on my face. You know, seeing Joey really look at those belts and be like, I want that, and seeing all the work that he's put into getting into that top 10. You know, it's always about him just being a better wrestler, but these events are things that he can strive for. Maybe not measure, but remember, you know, the work that he puts in. So great job
Mm-hmm.
on you for continuing this event year over year. It's really growing into something special, even with hurricanes coming our way. So it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, every year we seem to get nipped with a hurricane that's got to move things around, but man, we adapt. I don't know that I've ever told you this story, but the reason this whole kind of award thing came about is when I was 6 years old. My dad found a flyer for a little local tournament back in Pittsburgh called the Burl Super Trophy, and they gave away it kind of like tiered. So if you finished fourth place, you got like a little guy. But then if you were champ, they were 4 foot tall trophies. And when you're 6, that's taller than you are. And I remember winning one when I was like 7 or 8. It was the first time I got one, and it was the coolest thing that ever happened to me at the time. And it just really kind of grew the love for wrestling, man, because when you're that age, all you want is the awards. You care less about all the technique and all that. You just want to do 2 things: be aggressive with somebody and win big trophies or medals or whatever. And so I kind of stole the idea from them and brought it down here to kind of make competing in the off season as fun as possible.
All right, man. Well, we will see you at the finale, hopefully. You know, we got things going on. So if I don't see you there, we'll definitely see you back here next week to talk about the entire events that went down. Everybody else listening, make sure you go to our YouTube page and subscribe, as well as the merch store that is coming soon. Make sure to stop by and support your favorite North Florida wrestling show. Jason, it's always a pleasure.
Pleasure, Jordan. Also, one last thing: Friday night, I hope to see you there. We're going to play coaches versus kids dodgeball and
Oh,
take
dude,
out some young
you
kids with
if
the
I can make
dodgeballs.
it,
So
you know I will
hopefully
be
you can make
there,
it
and
over
I
there.
will be targeting Carson Garcia and that luscious hair. Oh, I got him. I'm gonna have him.
He'll like that.
Little
Little
Sunshine
little
Garcia, baby.
Sunshine Garcia. All right. Well, I appreciate you, man.